Hey guys, it's Ty from gamesfromthefront.com and taking a little break from Where Eagles Dare to play some Devil's Cauldron. I've got introductory scenario number 2 set up, Little Omaha. This is the dramatic events around the crossing of the Vol River, as depicted in the movie A Bridge Too Far, and I thought I'd do a little bit of a live playthrough for it. So I've got it set up here on my gaming table. I'll give a little bit of background first. The scenario was set in the afternoon of September 20th, 1944. We've got Allied units from the Guards Armored Division here around Nijmegen Bridge. We also have some members of the 82nd Airborne Parachute Infantry Regiment. In particular, the 504th is here a little bit west of town, and then south we've got units from the 505th. Opposing them are some units from the Frensburg Division, the SS units. Kampfgruppe Uhling is here, and some units from Kampfgruppe Henke are here guarding the railroad bridge. And we also have a German artillery park that I've set up here on the map in a box, and an Allied artillery park. Objectives for the game is for the scenario is for the Allies to secure the Fort von Holland here across the river, and then also make sure that the railroad bridge and the main Nijmegen road bridge are uncontested. And the scenario lasts for 2 turns. I've got all the big chits set up or pulled out. You'll see that we've got 3 division chits for Frensburg, 82nd Airborne, and Guards Armored Division. We've got our 2 direct command chits, and then we've got formation chits for the 505th, Group Hot, Guards Armored Artillery, Frensburg Artillery, and Kampfgruppe Uhling. And then the first chit in play is going to be from the 504th Regiment, Colonel Tucker. They're going to conduct the river crossing first. Interestingly, there's no formation chit for Kampfgruppe Henke, but they've only got 1 or 2 units anyway, so they're going to do direct command and division activations. Each unit or each division starts with a handful of command points. You'll see Frensburg there is at 4, 82nd Airborne is at 8, and Guards Armored is at 12, and they all have a command rating of 4. There's no dispatch points in this scenario, being an introductory scenario, and the weather is clear. So let's get started with our first chit and see how this river crossing goes. Okay, I've zoomed in here a bit for the formation activation for the 504th. I got its activation marker right there. The 504th is going to conduct this river crossing. You'll see that there's an assault ferry that starts the scenario here in the hex with the Nijmegen factory. And I've spread out these other units encounters that were in the hex just to make it a little bit easier to see. But the assault ferry starts the scenario in this hex, and has been created already by these 2 engineer units. One of them is from 30 Corps, and one of them is from the 82nd Airborne. But you basically need to have 2 engineer units in a hex to attempt to build an assault ferry. But for the purposes of this scenario, they've already created it. And then I have a battalion of the 504th here, so 3 infantry and a support mortar, who are also in this hex, and they are hopping on some rafts and some canvas boats and getting ready to cross the river. To cross the river, they have to pass a troop quality check. So I'm going to try that first with the infantry units and then save the mortar unit for last and see if I can get across. That's going to be the first activation, and then crossing the river is the entire activation, or action I should say. But for the second action in the formation activation, they can continue on to move and hopefully get close up here to Fort Von Holland. If they do make it across, if they do pass a troop quality check, they end up in this hex. That action does trigger opportunity fire checks, and you'll see that there is a unit from Frundsberg who is here, who's got a range of 3, so he can check his troop quality for opportunity fire, although he's at a 2 for troop quality. And one of the scenario rules I forgot to mention is that the bridge at Arnhem is closed, so all their units have a -2 for their troop quality. So I'm going to go ahead and conduct this crossing. Let's see how it goes. Okay, I finished the crossing for the 504th, and they did pretty well. All the infantry units made it across, and there was no opportunity fire taken, as Frundsberg failed all their troop quality checks for opportunity fire. The mortar unit did not make it across, and then there were 2 units over here in the power station who used their first activation to move on top of the ferry. The ferry will last and stay in this location until the end of the turn, so now that they're in position, they can take their action or try to cross the river the next time they're activated. All right, we put Colonel Tucker and a couple of contact markers for artillery back. Let's put the Colonel Tucker 504th chit aside, and let's pull another chit and see what we get. All right, looks like we've got Frundsberg Division activation. So let's take a moment, and first of all, let's roll for some command points. Command rating for Frundsberg is 4, and I rolled a 7, so that's going to be divided by half as a 3, plus 4 is a 7 to their existing 4 is going to take them up to 11. So they've got 11 command points. So let me take a look and see what I can do and strategize a little bit. Okay, I don't think I'm going to get too crazy here. I don't really have the strongest units on the German side, but with the Allies here in the open, I'm going to use some of the artillery to fire on them. Probably take some pot shots with the units here. I am in pretty good shape with command points. So I'm not going to really do any movement, but just some shooting and see if I can get lucky with a couple shots. Yeah, maybe I can gang up on somebody here. I definitely don't want. I've got some units in improved positions here. I don't want to come out of those positions, and of course the flak units can't really move. So yeah, just going to basically kind of sit around and do some direct fire and a couple of artillery shots with the folks in the artillery park. So let me give it a shot and see how that goes. All right, kind of mixed results for the Germans. H Company lost a step from an artillery barrage, and then I Company took a cohesion hit and ended up under a heavy barrage. So those are pretty good results. It didn't hurt that these guys were on the raised road, so that made the shots a little bit easier for the Germans. But then over here by the road bridge, this motorized infantry unit from Group Hot took a cohesion hit, but otherwise the other 2 or 3 units located here at the foot of the bridge and into the city didn't do much of anything. So let's see, I think we spent about 5 or 6 command points just to pull that off. So again, mixed bag. All right, that's in the Frundsberg Division. Let's pull another chit and see what we get. And Frundsberg Artillery. Okay, not too much to think about here. So I'm just going to go ahead and play that out. We've got, you might remember, we've got 2 artillery units in an artillery park just written on the board. They're technically not there, but that's just where I'm keeping them for gameplay sake. And I think they're going to keep up the action on... let me think about this for a second. Well, rats, I knew that I'd probably messed something up. It turns out that those guys were not in command or in contact at the beginning of the game. So I'm going to try to roll back the effects on these allied units. Barrages are going to go away. The steps are coming back. Cohesion hit's going to go away. And instead, these guys are going to check for in contact. Let's see, they need a 2 or less. Oh, and the second guy was successful. So I tell you what, I'm going to keep, the first attack was actually the step loss. I'm going to keep the cohesion hit and or keep the cohesion on, and that step loss, which was the first attack, is going to stay. It's one of the nice things about playing solo. You can make your own calls on the fly because you're kind of in control. Okay, so let's go back to the formation activation chit for the artillery units. All right, so let's try for contact again. First activation, no command points. So this unit, what is it? It's like second company of the 21st. Needs a 2 or less for contact, and he fails. And then let's try for first company. He's going to drop a barrage on the stack with H company. He's got a 4 orange indirect high explosive attack to start off with. Let's check for a company bonus, 1 or less. 8, no good. Let's check our modifiers here. So he starts with a 4 orange. The target is on raised road. That's +2. It takes me up to 6. Defense rating of -1 for H company is 5. So let's do a 5 orange on H company. And I rolled an 8. So that's a miss. And that is going to place a light barrage. And that's going to bring that activation to an end. All right, let's reach back into our cup, pull another activation chit, and pull out good old Guards Armored Division. All right, Guards Armored Division has a command rating of 4. Let's roll for some command points. And that's a 7, so that's going to give me 3 plus 4 is 7, plus the 12 I start off with. Takes me up to the maximum of 19, so 19 command points. Let's see. A couple things going on here we keep in mind. We do have these artillery units in the park. There's a field artillery battalion or battery that is technically part of the 82nd, but for the purpose of this scenario is treated as part of Guards Armored Division. So I've got 19 command points. I've got 4 artillery units. I've got some motorized infantry. Let me take a moment and see if I can figure out what I want to do with all this. All right, a couple things I think I'm going to do. I've got a couple of armored units here in column that are going to close onto the railroad bridge. There's also a mortar unit here on foot who's going to try to close a little bit. There's a couple of spotters available for artillery, and I think I'm going to soften up the units in this hex, or try to, and then perhaps conduct a combined assault on that hex. And then there's some artillery spotting or contact here with the commander of the 504th, which is part of the scenario rules, that's permissible. Not quite sure what I'm going to do with him. He might spot into this hex, or he might spot into the across the river there into the fort. Let me see how that goes. Let me start off with the other things first. All right, give me a moment. I'll give you the outcome. Okay, Guards Armored outcome. We had these columned armored units close up here on the railroad bridge without incident, and also a mechanized, or is it motorized? I forget. Mechanized infantry unit closed as well on foot. Mixed results here with an assault on some units here at the foot of the bridge. There's an infantry unit and a flak unit. here in improved positions. Artillery units didn't seem to do too much to soften them up, except get a heavy barrage in place. And then infantry units, mechanized infantry from here, assaulted into this hex. They suppressed one of the units, but then on a subsequent third turn charge, they failed, or they succeeded, but the defender repelled them or held their ground. So not the strongest outcome, but that's the end for the Guards Armored Division. And let's pull another chit. I love these big chits. They're awesome. I hope the new games have them. And looks like we've got Guards Armored Artillery. One quick note, one of the artillery units, the field artillery, rolled a 9, and so it lost its contact. So we're going to have to do a little bit of work to re-establish contact in that case. All right, so with the formation activation for artillery, we've got 4 artillery units in the park here that are all part of Guards Armored. I'm not going to do too much different here. Let me think. I'm going to start with another barrage. First, I'm going to try to establish contact. And I've got 2 units here that are going to try to barrage here. And then I think I'm going to switch things up and do a barrage with the other 2 units here on the other units at the foot of the road bridge. All right, let's see how that goes. All right, we failed to re-establish contact with that special 376 field battery that was under the command of Guards Armored, but we did get a light barrage on this hex here, and then a heavy barrage under the commander here, which was inflicted on a a 0-step unit, flak unit, which is subsequently eliminated. So that's the end of Guards Armored Artillery. Let's pull another big chit. And we've got Allied Direct Command. All right, I think there's a couple things I want to do here. Let me look at my command point levels and think about that a little bit. Okay, I don't have a whole lot of command points left for the 82nd, so I'm going to spend 2 on an assault here. I'm going to spend 2 to see if I can get these across on the assault ferry. And on the Guards Armored side, I think I'm going to move some of these units into a little bit better position for future assaults. Speaking of assaults, I did make a mistake earlier where I assaulted from 2 hexes into 1 hex. Can't believe I forgot that, but I did forget it. I'm going to let it stand. The earlier results stand, but just want to point that out, that I did make that mistake. All right, let me see how these moves go for the direct command chit. All right, a little progress here for the Allies. However, only one of the 2 infantry units made it across on the assault ferry. So I've got a nice little stack of 3 infantry units, pretty heavy on steps, so a nice juicy target, but on the other hand, they're in pretty good position to assault should they get a good division activation chit here coming up. Here on the assault at the foot of the bridge, not too difficult for these units from the 505th. Just a quick note, you won't see a leader for the 505th here on the board, but by scenario rules, they're always in command. So you are able to spend command points on them. So I spent 2 command points on them and assaulted into here. Did 2 rounds of fire combat against some pretty weakened German units. And then by the time the 3rd round rolled around, one of them was suppressed. And one of them was a pretty, it was a flak unit that can't move with 2 cohesion hits. And so we charged. One of them succeeded, one of the Allied succeeded, one failed, and then overran the German units. So they were eliminated. So we've got one company, looks like Easy Company from 505th here is under the heavy barrage, and then F Company, Fox Company stays here and didn't advance. And then moved 2-foot units, mechanized infantry units here into this stack for preparing for a future assault. So there's a lot of chits in this scenario, but there's not a whole lot of units, so it goes pretty quickly. All right, let's see what we got. All right, so there's the 82nd Airborne. So we're going to need some command points, first of all. So we've got a command rating of 4. You can't see it from the screen, but we're down to 0 command points after those first chits. And rolling for command points. Ooh, a 1, so it's a 0. Plus the 4 for the command rating takes us up to 4. That is not a whole lot. But having said that, I think it's time to do a little bit of assault. I think right now all I can really afford is to attempt this assault up here with this stack of infantry units into Fort Von Holland. So let me see how that goes, and I'll give you a report in a moment. All right, all the action for the 82nd Airborne Division activation chit was up here at the river in Fort Von Holland. 3 infantry units from the 504th Parachute Infantry Regiment assaulted 2 German units that were in Fort Von Holland. There was no opportunity to fire, and one of the German units was a 0-stepper, so he got eliminated right off the bat. And then there was actually quite a heroic stand by a somewhat underpowered German infantry unit. Although he was eliminated, he did take down one of the paratrooper companies with him. Looks like a golf company. So having said that, the 505th has taken Fort Von Holland, which is one of the victory conditions. And after that, I was able to make some headway with one final infantry company from the 504th who crossed via the assault ferry and is now making its way towards the Nijmegen rail bridge. All right, a couple chits left for this turn. Let's see where we can end up. And focus there. German direct command. All right, let's take a look. Let's see, we've got 4 command points with Frundsberg. Yeah, it's probably the point of this scenario is that the Germans aren't going to be able to do too much. I definitely don't want them to give up their improved positions, especially within a city. So they're just going to spend a couple points and take some pot shots at some targets. I think, looks like the railroad bridge is probably the next target, so got a couple of units here from Kampfgruppe Henke here who are going to fire on Guards Armored Division and probably do the same here, as Guards Armored is a little bit overstacked here in that hex. All right, nope, you can't see any of that because I didn't rearrange the camera. But what I was saying is that I've got 4 command points. I'm going to do little pot shots here, Kampfgruppe Henke, and then is it Uhling? Kampfgruppe Uhling over here by the road bridge is going to attack, do some attacks on this overstacked Guards Armored Division hex. All right, let's see how that goes. All right, not too effective here for the Germans. No results here. It's actually a pretty good unit here under this improved position at the railroad bridge for the Germans, but even having said that, when he attacked this mechanized infantry, no results. And here, another fairly good infantry unit for the Germans, but he was under a heavy barrage. So even though I spent the command point, ended up with no result when he attacked that stack of 3 Guards Armored. Attacked the mechanized infantry. Got a little bonus for the number of steps in that. All right, next activation chit. Group Hot. Formation activation. So they're ready to roll. All right, so this is what I was kind of hoping for. If you're the Allies, at least. I've got this stack here ready to assault here on the footbridge, or the road bridge. And then if I want to, let me see how it goes. I may assault here as well. And I think that's it. Oh, I've got a mortar unit here. I'm going to probably do him first and then see what I can do with these assaults. All right, let me know how it goes. All right, I completed my assaults with Guards Armored Division, or Group Hot. This is pretty much a stalemate. There was a mechanized infantry and an armored unit from Group Hot here who assaulted on an SS unit under an improved position. And this SS unit, he's pretty tough. He's got a base 8 troop quality. He's got a 5 pink for small arms fire and a 3 white for dual purpose. And yeah, he put a pretty good hurt on the mechanized infantry unit before the assault went through its 3 turns. And then over here on the foot of the road bridge, the units from Kampfgruppe Uhling were eliminated, but held on for almost 3 turns, but took hit after hit after hit. The infantry units, or mechanized infantry units from Group Hot, I think just took a single cohesion hit on top of the one that they already had. So they're going to move into the hex. As I was looking a bit more closely at the map, though, it's actually a pretty interesting hex. Not quite sure how well the camera is going to pick it up. Let me zoom in a little bit. And you'll see that there's actually partial raised road here. There's a bridge hex here, or part of the bridge here. And then the road actually kind of twists out into this adjacent hex. You see that little black line there. If I remember my rules correctly, you can only assault into a hex in which you can actually move. Now, raised road is a double cost for infantry, which are leg units, which these guys are. So I think that's permissible. There isn't really a terrain for a bridge, a trade-in value for a bridge. Although you cannot assault across a bridge unless you're in column. So what's kind of weird is that you'll see this in a couple parts of Devil's Cauldron. I don't think you have this in the Where Eagles Dare, but in Devil's Cauldron there's a couple bridges that span 2 hexes. So I'm not quite sure how to play that. I think I'm going to go ahead and let it stand for gameplay's sake, but the move into the raised road is permissible, and I don't feel that I was necessarily assaulting across a bridge. So I'm going to go ahead and let that stand. And so that's going to be the end of Kampfgruppe Uhling. We now have an uncontested road bridge for Nijmegen, which is a second of 3 victory conditions. So we've got uncontested Nijmegen road bridge, we've got Fort von Holland under Allied control, and that just leaves the rail bridge. And with Uhling eliminated, I'm going to take out its formation activation chit, throw that aside, which is going to leave the last chit for the turn, which is 505th Regiment for its activation, formation activation, and that is going to be the first chit for the next turn. All right, we're on to the 1700 turn of September 20th. Things are pretty much in hand for the Allies, but let's go ahead and play it out. So we're starting the turn with the last chit from the last turn. That's the 505th Regiment from 82nd Airborne. No additional, end of turn activities. I've removed all the barrages. So we're starting here with a blank slate. All right, so the 505th. Let's see what we're going to do here. First of all, I'm going to move these units. I wouldn't mind spreading them across the bridge, but they're really not facing any opposition. So I think they're going to close in with a little bit of movement for first action. And I'm only down to a single activation point, so I'm going to have to preserve that. Let's see, if I'm in a town not in column on leg, it's going to cost me 2. All right, so he can go 2-4 for his first action. And this unit's going to go 2-4 for for his first action, and then he can spot for this mortar unit who's going to use his first action to attack. Let's see, we'll do a quick calculation. He's a 3 green. He's firing into, it's 2-stepper, so let's check for a company bonus. Target 4, he's successful. So he's at a 5 green. He's firing into a city, which is -3, which would take him down to 2. And the unit is in an improved position. And it looks like that's his only benefit. So it's going to take us down to a 1 green. Ooh, I rolled a 0. Single step loss. Holy smokes. Okay. Let's go ahead and apply that. It's going to end up being a light barrage and a step loss. That's a pretty big roll right there. So that was a pretty tough unit for Kampfgruppe, was that Henke? All right, so that's going to be into that division activation shit. I've put all the other ones back in the cup and mix them up. And I'm going to pull out Frundsberg Artillery. All right, so we got 2 artillery units left. I think they're both out of contact. Yeah, I got the contact markers moved. I can't remember quite how that happened. I know one of them has been out of contact the whole game. I can't remember. Maybe, oh, he was in contact with Euling. So when Euling was eliminated, or took that heavy, that was it. It took the heavy barrage and lost contact. No, it must have been when he was eliminated, because the heavy barrage only affects if you hit the artillery unit itself. Okay. So let's go ahead and do first activations. I guess the artillery is going to try to get in contact with Henke. Contact roll is a 2. And that doesn't succeed. And the other one is a 2 as well. And that's a 4, so that fails. So not a lot going on there for Frundsberg Artillery. All right, next chit. Euling. I thought I took him out. Yeah, I must have accidentally put him in. Euling no longer exists, so let's pull another chit. And, Frundsberg Division activation chit. So first thing he's going to do is roll for command points. He's got a 4 command rating. And the die roll is a 3, so that's going to earn him 1. Plus the 4 is 5. He's got 2. So I'll take him up to 7 total. And not a whole lot to do here. Everyone's in an improved position, so I can do some shots here with the remaining units from Henke, and then we'll see if we can get the artillery going again. So stay tuned for that. All right, not bad for the Germans. One of the 2 artillery units got back in contact, dropped a barrage on the paratroopers here from, I think it was Easy Company, and inflicted actually a single step loss, rolling a 0. And then these 2 infantry units, the Convalescent and the Field Railway unit, who's actually pretty weak, took some shots at some respective units here, adjacent units, and with no results. So that's the end of Frundsberg Division. Let's pull another chit. And we got 82nd Airborne. Okay, that's good. They're going to need some command points. So 4 command rating, let's roll a die. And that's a 0. So they've got 0 plus 4 for their command rating. They've currently got 1, so that'll take them up to 5 command points. All right. Unfortunately, they're in a little bit of a weaker state than I had hoped. With 5 command points, it looks like 4 units. So definitely our mortar unit's going to fire. Oh, this guy should have a light barrage on him. And then, I don't know if I'm feeling so strong about an assault right now. First thing we're going to do is we're going to move this guy into that hex for his first active. No, he can't do that. He's got to spend a command point to do that as a second activation, because we've got division activation chit out. So that's going to be one of my command points. He's going to fire for 2. He's going to fire for 3. And I don't know if the guy under the light barrage, he's down to a single step. So I'll probably just attack with these guys. Mortar unit 3, let's check for company bonus. 3 green. He fails his company bonus, so he's at a 3 green into a city. It's -3, -1 for the improved position. So he's going to be a 0 green. Yep, he did it before, he did it again. That's a 0. That's a 0 step loss. And if you think I'm lying, there's that 0. Wow, that's 2 zeros in a row for him. For that mortar unit, he's going to be up for a citation or an award. It's actually going to eliminate this very tough SES unit. His improved position goes away. The light barrage stays. And with that in mind, instead of attacking, he's going to use his second activation and move into the hex. It's going to cost a command point. All right, that was a good turn of events. And not even a turn of events. I mean, the Allies are clearly in control here, but see if they can take the railroad bridge. And let's see what we got here. Group hot. Formation activation chit. All right, there's a couple things that they can do. This commander needs to actually be on somebody. We've got some artillery units here in the artillery park. This is group hot though, so those guys aren't in play. Let me think. Not quite in a position to take out the railroad units. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, probably going to fire with this mortar unit, fire with the armored unit, and advance with the units under the stack. All right, let me go ahead and play that off screen and see how it goes. Okay, wrapped up those attacks. The mortar unit attacked into the railway hex against the railway units and inflicted a cohesion hit. And then this armored unit attacked and I think inflicted a second cohesion hit on those same units. And then there's an infantry unit and an armored unit in column who's just moved into this hex. So starting to whittle away on that German unit. Only a handful of counters left. Let's see if the Allies can pull it off. And they've got, there it is, guards armored. All right, so Group Hot's going to get to go twice in a row with some artillery support. All right, so let's roll for command points. Command rating 4. Gosh, another 0. Okay, so it's going to give me 4 command points. With the 8 that they have, it's going to take them up to 12. All right, well, I think I'm going to do just about everything I can here. I've got some artillery units. Although, can they spot? No, because they're on this command. Oh, no, we got units, though, from Group Hot, though, that can spot. The contact marker is just on the commander. But any of the units of the formation can spot. So I've got a couple of units, artillery units that can attack. I've got the same unit, armored unit that can attack. Got the mortar unit that can attack. And now these guys are in position as well. So let me see how that goes and I'll report back. All right, that actually didn't take very long at all. had started off with 2 attacks from the the artillery units in the Artie Park. One of them had no effect, and the other one rolled a 0 and inflicted a single step loss on the railway unit. And so he's down to a single step and 2 cohesion hits. And this armor unit then attacked and inflicted another cohesion hit. So that 3rd cohesion hit inflicted the 2nd step loss, eliminating this unit. The contact marker goes away, the leader goes away, the improved position goes away, the cohesion hits go away, the railway marker stays, bridge marker, heavy bridge leaves, and then just for quick giggles we'll have these guys move in, and now both bridges are uncontested, and Fort Von Holland is under Allied control, and so obviously we have an Allied victory. So that's the end of the scenario. I hope you enjoyed the playthrough. It's a neat little scenario. I like it. I'm glad that the assault ferry is part of the scenario and part of the game. It really needs to be in there in some form, given the historical aspects of what happened in Nijmegen. I will say though that it's maybe a little bit disappointing at how overwhelming the Allies feel. They won by eliminating all the German units, and Germans really didn't have much of anything going on. I'd have to read up on that and see how well that lines up with what really happened. But the Allies just seemed far too powerful in this scenario. But Grand Tactical Series, it's my favorite. I love playing it, and I hope you enjoyed the playthrough. Talk to you later.